Well, welcome back to the iWealth podcast, where we talk about all things iWealth and all of the latest and greatest concerns that are out there with regards to your wealth and wealth management. Of course, we have with us the man, the mystery, the legend, Mr. Brad Connors.
Right.
So, Brad, I had a friend recently that came and talked to me and just basically said, Matt, I'm switching jobs and you're into all of this financial stuff. And I know that you visit with Brad all the time. And I said, I'm going to ask Brad, what's on the laundry list for when you switch jobs, and what are some of the things that you need to think about?
Yeah, it's really interesting. First of all, you and I talk a lot about people's perceptions, where their head is. I've talked on this podcast before about people making sure that they're happy, right? It's not all about money. So first of all, with that job change, it's not always about the bottom line. I totally get that we have to buy groceries and pay the house payment and do that kind of thing. But in this environment with no unemployment, basically, if you're going to change jobs, then after you get your head around and heart around, yes, this is the right thing for me, then I think it's time to sit down and put together a checklist of stuff that you need to make sure that you take care of when it comes to making that job change.
So what is that checklist?
Yeah.
Walk me through that.
Yeah. So obviously health benefits is number one. I mean, if there's one thing broken in this country, it's healthcare.
Okay.
That's not a political statement. It's a true statement. It's broken and It's got to get fixed. But you've got to be able to take a look at what you had for healthcare benefits, or if you're leaving mom and dad's because you're 26 years old or whatever that is, you've got to look at what that cost is for that healthcare benefit and make sure that you get signed up correctly at the new company. Sure. You also have to take a look at obviously the 401k, right? If you have a pension or a 401k, what are the options that are available to you at the new place, and
whether or not there's a match there,
right?
And even that tiny little thing of whether or not there's a match, or maybe it's only 1 or 2% different than the place that you're coming from, can make a big difference in the long haul.
Right.
And where you end up at retirement.
Right. And at the old place, what if they didn't have a Roth 401k, but the new place has a Roth 401k? So now if you're going to defer 10% of your income in, or 5% or whatever that is, how much should that go into Roth and how much should be in a tax deferred type bucket? The match is always tax deferred, but where should my money go? Should it be Roth or not? What are the investment choices I had, and what are the new investment choices that I have coming at me? And should I roll my 401k to the new one, or should I leave it, or should I put it in an IRA that's self-directed, that you take care of yourself, or you hire a financial advisor to take care of it for you? There's multiple aspects to that 401k, and it's not just forget about it and just leave. I mean, we see it all the time where people walk in and they have 6 statements of 6 different 401ks from the last 20 years that they haven't did anything with. Yeah. And hopefully they've managed it okay, but they really haven't. They just have forgot about it. Which could be a good strategy, that they're not taking money out when they shouldn't. But anyway, you just need to be intentional with that. So I'd say healthcare number one, and then make sure you take care of your old 401k or whatever that is. And then you need to also take a look at like the life insurance benefits. A lot of people will have life insurance through work, and if they're not at work any longer, then what?
That's interesting. Life insurance through work.
Yeah. So a lot of them employers will provide $100,000 death benefit, let's say.
Okay.
And
is that just if you were to pass away while you're on the job, or is that just across the board?
It'd be across the board.
Really?
The problem I have, though, is if you all of a sudden have a health benefit, you get, something that's not life-threatening, but now all of a sudden you're rated, or you can't get life insurance any longer, and you leave your employer. If the new employer doesn't offer life insurance, now you're stuck without anything. So whole nother kind of conversation around life insurance on, should you have some outside of work so you always have something. But anyway, you need to take a look at those benefits too when you're going to the new employer. Is there going to be life insurance that will replace your old life insurance as well?
Is that something that with the life insurance that we're actually seeing more of, or a little bit less of, or is that all but going away right now with employers offering life insurance to their employees?
Yeah, I think it's been pretty consistent. It's normally...
It's always the bigger employers?
Mostly the bigger employers, but it doesn't have to be. I see employers that have 25 employees that'll offer some life insurance too.
Sure.
The smaller the place, normally it's not there.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cheap, and the reason why it's cheap is because you're just an employee there, and it's part of a group benefit. It gets much more expensive when you leave. Sometimes you can keep that life insurance, but you pay a higher premium as well. So You just need to be able to say, once you get your heart and head around the job change, then you've got to be able to have this list where you kind of just walk through. I got to make sure that I check these boxes, get signed up for the 401k, you know, those kind of things, pick the right investments, that kind of stuff.
And it's hard from kind of almost like a life planning perspective, because when you're in the midst of a job change, there's all of the emotion that goes along with that, plus the learning curve of what is this new job, and then the other interpersonal thing of like, who are these new people? You know, what am I supposed to be doing? And then who are these new people that I'm supposed to be working with?
Right.
And then you tack onto that of how do I think through all of these benefits? And that's really where I just personally see that there's a lot of value in having somebody that's kind of does that as your job, to sit down and kind of go, here's the laundry list. Which boxes do we not check on it? Because it's so far down on the list for what an average person is ever even thinking about.
Right. And you go in and you meet with the HR person, and the HR person will do a great job to get you signed up for the new benefits.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about the old benefits, or can't legally.
Because it actually makes their job harder doing all of the migration and all of that stuff over there.
Right. So it is important, you know, Dan Sullivan, the who, not how. You got to find a who that's going to be able to walk through all these things with you. But I mean, it can be a great thing to take a career change and take a step up. Just make sure you get all the baggage along with it taken care of.
It's interesting from a planning perspective. If I was just to make a guess, I bet only 2% of people, or maybe 5% of people actually go through the process of dotting those I's and crossing those T's when they do have a job change. Do you think that that's true?
I think that it might be a little bit higher because HR makes sure that they dot the I's.
They do their part of it.
On their side of it.
On their side of it.
It's the stuff that's left behind, thinking about the life insurance, the 401k, the Roth, you know, all those things that stuff's not normally going to get
having
handled.
somebody in your corner to kind of help think through that aspect of it is the beauty to it.
Yep.
So, and especially somebody that's not motivated by the company and keeping their own job, but rather motivated by how do I do well for this person in the long run. Because it's not a short-term play. The short-term play is, this sucks, I have to try to figure all of this out. I mean, this is the reality of it.
Yeah.
But it's a long-term play of how do we have this be something that I can retire with dignity.
Yeah, you bet.
All right. Well, very cool. Till next time, we'll see you very soon.
All right. Sounds good.